This is the Wizard, WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. We have with us at Wizard today Metropolitan Water Reclamation District Commissioner Frank Avila, who has been serving the Water Reclamation District for 3 terms, and he's up for election for another term. And we also have with us Bill Morton, who is the president of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce and is also running for 49th Ward Democratic Committeeman. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Thank you.
Well, first of all, Frank, please describe your duties as a Metropolitan Water Reclamation District Commissioner.
Well, thanks for having me on your show, Trudy. As you mentioned, my name is Commissioner Frank Avila, and I'm running for re-election for the Water Reclamation District. And if they come out and vote, my ballot number is 123. Now, the commissioner, we're 9 commissioners on the board. 3 run every 2 years, and our responsibility on the board is to approve the budget, and I'm the chairman of finance. And so this year for 2020, our budget is $1.1 billion. Our next mission as a commissioner is we set policies. And we set policies that will protect the health and welfare of the people of Cook County.
That's a big task.
Oh, yes, because it's very important. You know, the good Lord made our body that we have to have is 65% of water. And we need water to live. Every creature in the world needs water to live. So we have to protect our water supply at Lake Michigan. Because Lake Michigan, we're not the water filtration plant. We're not that's the Census Chicago, but we protect the supply, Lake Michigan. You know, of all the surface in the earth, 70% of the surface of the planet is water. And 1% of that surface water is for drinking purposes. Now, out of that 1%, 20% of that 1% is right here in the Great Lakes. I know the percentage there. And 90% of all the surface water in the United States is right here in the Great Lakes. So we're in God's country.
We are.
Because as I mentioned, our body, we need water to live. And we need water to drink, and we have to make sure that every day you and your kids drink water because our body needs water. We could live without food for about a month. But for water, we only could live without water for about 3 days, and our body shuts down. So that's, and also we approve contracts.
Well, how do the other Great Lakes affect our Great Lakes, the water supply? Does it intermingle?
Well, it's all grouped together because you got all the lakes there.
Like the fingers.
But yeah, like the fingers, and that's why it's so important to take care of our quality of water in the Great Lakes.
So reclamation is actually reclaiming the water that we use and then repurposing it again so that it's usable again?
The Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, we have, as I mentioned, 3 missions: protect the water supply in Lake Michigan, prevent flooding, and what you're talking is that on the flooding portion of it, is that we have the deep tunnel. You ever heard of the deep tunnel?
Yes, I have.
The deep tunnel runs it's 105 miles.
Wow. We even have a reservoir on the new AIU campus property right by Foster and St. Louis.
Yes, the city of Chicago built that, but we gave the city of Chicago over $20 million. See, and the purpose of that tunnel, when it rains, all the water goes into that deep tunnel.
Yes.
And it goes east to the North Shore Channel. So that's and then now that relieves a lot of the flooding here on the northwest side, especially in Foster and Pulaski.
Yes.
It used to flood a lot.
Yes.
Yes. And so we Trudy, we have 7 wastewater plants.
Okay, 7 of them.
7 waste, and they say, what is a wastewater plant? Well, you know, a wastewater plant is that when people eat and drink, They get up in the morning, they take a shower, they brush their teeth, they'll have breakfast, and everything goes down into the sewer.
Right.
You know, in their house, it
Yes.
drains down into the sewer in the local streets. Well, all that comes into our wastewater plant. So we treat everything that they do when they get up in the morning, go to the washroom, they flush the toilet, and out of sight, out of mind. No one has ever thought of where it goes to. But it goes to a wastewater plant. And that's what we treat. We treat all that wastewater. We treat the number 1 and number 2.
Understood.
See, when they go to the washroom and eliminate their number 1 and number 2, they flush the toilet, it comes to our plant, and we treat it.
And even all the soap and all the cooking oil that eventually gravitates into the sewers too.
Yeah, it comes in the sewer, and we treat it. And you know, every day, people don't realize how much what we treat. We move out 500 tons of treated poop. 500 tons.
So is that that includes Chicago, and then how much of Metropolitan Chicago? All the suburbs?
Oh yeah, it includes all 126 municipalities.
Oh.
Including Chicago.
Yes.
We serve an area of there's about 5 million people living here in Cook County. So we serve equivalent to 5 million plus an equivalent. We serve all the industries and all the factories, which equates to another 5 million.
Right.
So it's like 10 million people.
Are you able to divide the industrial waste, that poisonous waste, from the waste that could still be used in the fields?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's very important. We do not allow any of that industrial waste to come into our wastewater plant. We have a whole department checking and see that the industries, the manufacturers, do not discharge their polluted, toxic waste into us, that they have to ship it out and treat it someplace else. It's very important.
Right. Do you have any testing procedures to make sure that what's coming in does not contain any industrial waste that eventually might creep in?
Oh yes, oh yeah. We're very strict on that. Because we do not want to have any of these toxic chemicals coming into our treatment plant. Because you know, we cannot remove everything. So one of the departments that we have is that we go out and visit just think of it, throughout in Cook County. We make sure that every manufacturer does not discharge their toxic chemicals into our facilities.
How do you do that?
Well, we do that because we have meters at every discharge places at the factories that we check and see, and then we have inspectors going out. I mean, we're very strict on that.
How many times per year do you visit every manufacturer?
Well, we visit depending on the size of it. It could be 1 or 2 times, but we have meters making sure that nothing is coming into our plant. I mean, and that's very important.
Of course.
That's very, very important.
What about e-waste? We were thinking, how does e-waste affect this wastewater and the reclamation?
Well, you're talking about the electronic waste.
Yes.
There. Well, it doesn't come into our system. Don't forget, we only treat the when it rains and it hits the ground, it goes into the sewer.
Right.
Okay, and then if it's a combined sewer is that the storm water and we call it wastewater. You know, when you flush the toilet, you wash your hands.
Yes.
It comes combined sewer handles all the storm water and everything that comes from your house. That's combined. And there's 56 communities that has combined sewers. And the other, remember I mentioned we have about 126 communities?
Yes.
The other ones are separate. The storm water and the sewage system is separate.
Oh.
And the storm water, when it's separate, it goes discharged into a river or a stream. You know, when we treat human waste and it comes into our plant, we like on the north side where we're at, where the university is at.
Yes.
On the north side, it got the North Shore Channel. we have the north side plant. It's called O'Brien plant. So when all the wastewater, and when we treat that at the O'Brien's plant, and you know, there's you know, we call it the here I got a sign that says 3 P's. See here, the three P's. You know,
Yes.
it says pee, poop, and toilet paper.
Right.
Okay. Well, on the P side, on the liquid side, when we treat that, we discharge that into the North Shore Channel. And then the North Shore Channel, it travels south. Through the Chicago River.
Okay.
It goes by Buddy Creek. It goes up to the Chicago Standard Ship Canal, and it goes southwest, and it goes through a lock. And from that lock, it goes into the Des Plaines River. From the Des Plaines River, it goes into the Illinois River. From the Illinois River, it goes into Mississippi. And from Mississippi, it goes down to the Gulf of Mexico. So what we do here, how we treat human waste here, the storm water and everything here, what we do here at the top has an effect going all the ways down to the Gulf of Mexico. Believe that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important that we living here in Cook County, we take care of the environment. And us at the Water Reclamation District, we have to make sure that we treat all the wastewater in an effective way so it doesn't affect all the rivers going down to the Gulf of Mexico.
So any of the residual P that is still in the wastewater that goes through the Des Plaines River, etc., all the way down to the Mississippi River, eventually all that traveling dilutes it, and then it acts as a natural filter for any residual P.
Well, the problem here's the problem. As I mentioned, it goes from the Chicago Standard Ship Canal, goes through our locks.
Yes.
It goes into the Plains River.
Yes.
It goes into the Illinois River. Now here's the problem. As it travels, you got farms along the ways. Illinois River, you got the Mississippi River. And what do they use on the farms? Pesticides, herbicides.
Right. Exactly.
And all that, so all that runoff is affecting the oxygen, the dissolved oxygen in the water, and creating algae. You know, like us as human beings, we need air to breathe. Yes. Right? If we don't have air, we won't be around long. Right. Well, the aquatic life needs dissolved oxygen. And so the problem that they're facing now is all the chemicals that comes into the water creates the algae.
Algae actually thrive on chemicals then.
Yeah. Yeah. See, so that's why we, as good stewards living here in Cook County, we have to make sure that what we treat and discharge into our waterways is treated. The problem we have now in the winter time now is that when it snows and ice, we put salt. Exactly. On the road of the chloride. Yes. And the chloride has an effect because we don't use as much chloride salt in our facility, but it comes from the streets when the city of Chicago or the municipality use salt on the road that goes into our system, and we cannot remove it.
And the thing about salt, with the salt, is it kills the plant life as well. Plants can't grow where the salt is.
Right. And that's a problem. So how do you remove the chloride? Or so we, the state formed a task force, and they asked us, and we don't use salt that much, but they asked us if we could be in charge of that task force to get all the municipalities together to see how they could, when it snows, how they could use the salt in an efficient way and less salt, but more efficient also because we have to have safety, so that when it comes into our system, there's not a lot of chloride coming in. Because as you mentioned, it affects everything, the salt.
Right. So any developments, are we able to address that issue then?
We're trying to have a best use on how to apply it. That's it. And also they're doing a lot of research. What else to use besides salt? Very difficult.
Sometimes they use sand. I don't know if that is that effective at all.
No, well, not here.
Yeah,
not. So they're trying to figure out what other solution that they could use to melt the ice. Very hard.
Yeah, exactly. Very hard. So this is the initiatives that you will be working on in your next term.
Oh yes, the next term. And also, you know, a lot of people don't realize that here in Cook County, we have, as I mentioned, we have 7 wastewater plants.
Mhm.
One, Stickney, is the largest in the world. Believe it, largest in the world. Now, and we have people from all over the world come and visit us to see how we treat wastewater.
You know, in Metropolitan New York, on Valentine's Day, the tour of the sanitary, the wastewater plant is the top attraction for couples as a little outing. They sold out. They sold tickets to visit that for a tour of the wastewater plant, and they sold out in 15 minutes.
Oh.
So maybe if you want to get some extra revenue over here, we could implement that.
Well, you know, our tour is free. You know, you mentioned Trudy, that you know our agency was built and designed by civil engineers.
Like yourself.
And I'm a civil engineer.
Yes.
And I always wanted to run for office.
Mhm.
I had a business for 30 years. And I always wanted to run for office that if I was elected, I knew what I was doing in that office. And so the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, and my name is Commissioner Frank Avila, my ballot number is 123, is that I wanted to run for office, that if I got elected, I knew what to do. And the Water Reclamation District, we're not a judge that judge people in court.
Mhm.
We're not legislators that pass a law. We're an operational type of agency that we operate and maintain our wastewater plant. This is my experience and what I went to school for. So, and also all the operation at the district was designed by a civil engineer and built by a civil engineer, and I'm a civil engineer. And we have the largest wastewater plant in the world. We could handle 1.4 billion gallons a day. I mean, that's big. And so we get all the different countries out the world come and see how we treat wastewater. You know, we are living in God's country here. And the reason why we're living in God's country, we got water to live. We got good soil, and we have wastewater plants.
Right.
And every major city is built around water.
Yes, and every major city should have a wastewater plant.
But do they then?
Oh yeah, here in America we do. In other parts of the country, they're hurting. They and that's why they come to us to see how we treat wastewater.
As for instance, in the big conference that you're going to be participating in, that water in India.
Oh yes, you know, Trudy, they about 4 years ago, we had a couple of Indians retired from our agency, Dr. Prakash Tata. He came to me, he says, Frank, I'd like you to come to India and give a workshop on how to operate and maintain wastewater plants. So they paid our way, the government, the state in India paid our way to go to India to give a workshop. We gave a 2 or 3 day workshop there on how to operate and maintain wastewater plants. That was 4 years ago. Last year, they made me the chair of the Water and Wastewater Conference last year, and it's this year also. It's in about a week and a half. We're gonna have that conference in India. I cannot go because I'm running for election, but we're sending over about 30 people, and they're paying because we cannot use taxpayer money to go give the conference there. So the state is paying part of the expenses. We have the International Rotary Club. I never realized how good the International Rotary Club is at. First time that I heard about what they're doing, and they're doing a lot of good things in America, in Chicago, and also internationally.
And they're an international organization, and they're based very close. Their headquarters is based in Evanston, Illinois.
Yes.
Right next to Rogers Park.
Right.
Yeah.
And here, the headquarters of the International Rotary Club is right here. They're worldwide. Start here, and they do a lot of good work in the Chicagoland area. I mean, I was amazed about what they do, and they want to come in and help people. So we're working with them we work with the international.
Did you approach them or did they approach
No,
you?
they approach us, and so we they do a lot of good things here in Cook County,
Of course.
in Chicago,
Mhm.
but
And
they
the world.
and the world.
Mhm.
So we're very fortunate to have this group, as you mentioned.
Mhm.
Everything came from Chicago, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
And in this area,
Frank, what do you like most about serving as a Metropolitan Water Reclamation District Commissioner?
Well, you know, what I really like is that we're protecting the health and welfare of the public.
Mhm.
You know, the problem we have today is that we have a lot of toxic chemicals in our personal care products, in our cosmetics,
Mhm.
in our food, and so I go out and give talks on prevention because everyone wants us to remove all the pharmaceuticals as we treat wastewater, and we can't. We cannot remove everything. So what's the next best thing?
Exactly.
Prevention,
Yes.
right?
Right.
What do you think of that, Bill?
Do it. You have to. Prevention. What do they say? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and that's really what it's about.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to elect Bill Morton for the ward committeeman in the 49th ward, because a committeeman position is to set policies with the Democratic Party.
That's right.
And what are some of your policies that you'd like to change? Yeah.
Well, I would like to stop the purge of qualified voters. I'd love to increase the number of registered voters, fairly appoint the election judges, eliminate electoral corruption and waste, which is really important. I'd like to stop the voting machine hackers and help all voters influence government decision making.
You know, and that's why we need a qualified person in that position, a ward committeeman, and Bill Morton fills that role. Because, you know, and I was talking with Bill and I get to know him more. Bill Morton, and what's your punch number, Bill?
My punch number is 252.
252. When you go, anyone that lives in the 49th ward, please go and vote for Bill Morton, punch 252, because he's concerned. He wants to serve the people. He does not want the people to serve him. He wants to help the people in the 49th ward and help set policies that will help the 49th ward.
And that's the difference between a politician and a community servant. You want to serve the people, or do you want the people to serve you? And I'm a community servant. I've always been. I've got strong roots in our community, and I've served people at restaurants. I've served people at internet cafes. I've worked the local businesses, and we formed the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce 10 plus years ago with a handful of small businesses. And we got our 501c6. We got chartered with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. We became the official Chamber of Commerce of the Rogers Park community. And I'm very proud of what we've done. I'm very proud of you too, Frank.
And you know, part of the ward committeeman's duties is to, every time you have an election, they sit down and they see who they want to have as a candidate to run for different offices, right? Like what kind of offices? Like judges, state
judges, state reps, state's attorneys,
yes, and even congressmen, right?
Yes,
which is you know, from the national to the local level,
all the way up from committeemen and aldermen, all the way up to the presidential race.
Yeah. So this position, and you know, Bill, it's a non-paying job. Why do you want to run for it?
Well, I see the ward office for the committeeman office, and I see it closed all the time. I walk by it almost every single day. Everybody in the neighborhood practically sees it closed every time they pass by it. I would like to engage the young Democrats, the middle-aged, and the seniors. I would like to have that office open every day. I'd like to host weekly ward nights instead of the monthly ones that are currently there. I would like to interact and cause more engagement with our community. And I think more events, we're already hosting job fairs every 2 weeks with the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Why can't the 49th Ward Democratic Party be involved in these job fairs? They're not now, and we've invited everybody. I take the time to meet with anybody and everybody who would like to meet with me. And it's an all-day thing. 24/7, 365. And it's a labor of love. And I really want to support our community. And I'm not going to make any money off of this at all. So that's where it's at.
Frank, what is most challenging about serving as a Metropolitan Water Reclamation District Commissioner, and how do you address that challenge?
Well, I'm glad you brought that question up. As I mentioned, at the district, we serve an equivalent population of 10.35 million people in 129 communities. It equates to 5.25 million individuals, commercial and industrial equivalent of another 4.5 million people, and a combined sewer overflow equivalent of 0.6 million people. So that's where we get that 10.3 million people in Cook County. We treat an average of 1.4 billion gallons of water per day. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of treatment here. And we perform nearly 520 laboratory analysis per year. 520,000
wow.
Analysis per year. We collect more than 750 pounds of medication at our wastewater plant. And we, as I mentioned, we operate and maintain 7 wastewater plants. The biggest challenge we have is how to educate the public. Mm-hmm. How to educate the public on not buying toxic chemicals.
Prevention.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we have to change the behavior of the people.
How successful have you been in prevention, would you say?
Well, I say we're, what we're doing now? We're going into the schools and giving talks to the grammar school kids. Mm. We have to
start at the beginning.
We have to start at the beginning, so they'll go home and educate their parents. Mm-hmm. Who's going to save the planet? Kids are going to save the planet.
Right.
That's right.
Right. The kids are going to save the planet, so we have to educate the kids. Mm-hmm. So you ever heard of STEM?
Yes.
STEM.
Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Right. And mathematics, that's STEM. Now the word is STEAM because they added art to it.
Art.
I
love art.
Art. You have to use your creative mind and your technical mind to bring together to see how we could change the behavior of the people.
And STEAM is that was the beginning of power.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and so we go out and I'm very involved with going out and talking to the kids. We're doing this radio station interview right now in February. Well, we have Engineering Week in February, and it's during the week of when George Washington was born, because he's considered the first engineer, and that's why we have Engineering Week. And well, it's through the whole month. We have a lot of we call future cities, where kids, schools compete. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, they compete in contests and designing a future city. The theme this year is water. And they're designing, as I mentioned, water is life. They're designing a town how to use water in their city. And these kids, the school that came #1 here in Cook County was the school out in Elsa. And we had about 17 schools participating, competing against each other.
What was their topic that they won?
They won the water, how to use water in the town and growing their food, providing water in their house, using water for energy. I mean, they were using water for everything. And they had to have a movable park, 1 or 2 movable parks in their town. And also the 3 kids that got up, they had to give a presentation. And the presentation, it had girls and boys giving the presentation.
What did you mean by movable parts?
Movable part is like transportation, getting from, or maybe providing energy. The turbines moving. These are the movable parts. They have to have a movable part. And also, how do you feed the people? They provided farms, little farms within the towns, and these are organic food that they don't use any pesticides or herbicides. Now this is healthy food.
So was this their plan, or have they actually been instrumental in implementing it?
No,
that's
it's
it.
just their plan. And we, the group, the Future City Engineers group, provides them with a software. It helps them how to what to design, give them questions. I mean, the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I think new graders knew more than me.
That's a
I mean,
great
they're very
educational
intelligent.
experience.
That's,
Yeah.
yes, congratulations. That was a success. Were you able to help these 6th, 7th, and 8th graders present their findings to the LSIP board or its mayor?
Well, no, what is that? We have different judges.
Mhm.
And the judges, there's an essay question. There's how their model looks. So we have different engineers as different judges, and then I'm one of the final judge to judge. So that's what I do during this month, because we have to educate the kids. Now and also a lot of other activities are going on through the whole month, and the kids are. I'll tell you, the kids are intelligent nowadays. I mean, they're looking for knowledge and things to do.
And that's what you're trying to do, provide that spark for them to start on the road to prevention and the road to conservation.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important for Bill to elect Bill, because he has the same vision in your ward, right, Bill, in your schools?
Well, we have the youth, and the youth are key for our future. And we've got to support our public schools. I've always supported an elected school board. And I think that we need to do it. We're actually working on a fundraiser for the parents and teachers of Sullivan High School right now. So it's very important, and I'll continue to do that work.
Excellent.
Frank, do you know approximately how many employees that the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District has?
Yeah, we have a little under 2,000 employees. And 1,000 are trade people, and 1,000 are administrative, professional engineers, scientists. And we need both types of people. We need the trade people to take care of our plants, and we need the administrative type of people. We need the scientists, the engineers, to design and do research on what we're doing.
Are there any job opportunities at the district?
Oh yes. If anyone's looking for a position, look on our website, MWRD.org. Look under careers, and you see all our jobs are through civil service exams. And also, I started, and this is for the college kids that are in school that lives in Cook County and goes to college. I started an internship program that paid $15 an hour for 119 days. And it could be in anything that you're studying, because we're like a little town. We have lawyers, biologists, people, public relations people, administration. Covers every facet of what you're studying, and you come and apply. You look at it. Look on the website MWRD.org. Look under career, and under career there's internship program. Go and apply and see if you get one of those internship programs, because it's very good and we get a lot of good knowledge. And I started that.
Oh,
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, we host a job fair every 2 weeks. Would you come to one of our job fairs?
Oh, sure.
And present this opportunity
sure.
to the people citywide and of our neighborhood of Rogers Park?
Sure. We'll have if I come, or maybe our public affairs department will come in and explain about the internship program, and not only positions that are available.
Yes.
Because jobs are key. Jobs are key to making people have hope, and to preventing the crime, and to having people provide for their families.
Oh yes.
Very, very important.
Yes.
And I'd love to have some of the resources that you have in our neighborhood.
Sure, no problem. You know, don't forget we're a $1.1 billion agency.
So that is the budget. But how much leeway do you have in its oversight, the budget?
Well, we run a very tight budget, but you know, and as I mentioned, our budget is $1.1 billion. Okay, and they say where does that money comes from? Well, you know, we on your real estate taxes, which is out now, that for this year budget, for the 2020 year budget. If a person has a home that's worth about $300,000, the increase in their taxes is only $35. because we run a very efficient agency that we watch our expenditure, we watch our funds coming in, that we don't put a burden on the taxpayers. Because the biggest burden now that all the public agencies are facing is the pension. And we're controlling our pension, that we don't get in trouble like the other agencies.
How are you able to control the pension?
Well, we control the pension, like we watch what we're spending, we watch what projects we do every year, because, you know, as I mentioned, we protect the health and welfare of the people. So the project that we pick, we make sure that it's a beneficial project to protect the health and welfare of the people of Cook County, and also we have funding for it, and we use the what they call the state revolving fund, where the government gives the state funding to fund our agency, but we have to go through the state and borrow the money at a very low interest, very low, and we make sure that the project is designed in a way that doesn't overrun. We put out for bid and make sure the contractor that does the project is a good contractor, and we watch that cost. No, and hardly any overrun.
That sounds like very responsible government.
Oh yeah, you know, they're doing the downtown, they're doing the expressway. Look how much that increased. I mean, big dollars.
What vendor opportunities are there for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District?
Oh, but there are two. As I mentioned, you go and register with our agency, MWRD.org. You go on site, look under purchasing, and register, because as I mentioned, we buy everything, but it's all through. You have to bid on the project. We have minority participation. We have women participation. We have veterans participation.
Who participates the most? Who has the greatest share of participation, would you say?
I would say the minority business enterprise there. And as I mentioned, you got a woman could do it, and the veterans, we just started the veterans, so that's increasing too.
We were speaking with the African American Contractors Association. Do you know offhand if you have any work with them?
Oh yes, yes.
Omar Sharif.
Oh yeah, Omar. Yeah, I know Omar. Very good. He runs a very excellent association, Omar Sharif.
And he participated in our job fair last time.
Oh, he did
as well. And he has some great flagger jobs for like $48 an hour. 8-hour days, 40-hour work weeks with benefits.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And you don't have to have a formal education or anything. It's for anybody who really needs that job.
Yes. There's opportunity. Also, the you know, we're a union agency.
Yes.
And so the union has a big push now. They call it the 360. They're doing these large projects now, and for them to do the large project, they have to have union trade people. Well, they may not have enough union trade people, so now they're looking to have people come in and be apprentice, and involves all the makeup of what the makeup of the Cook County is. You know, we're makeup of blacks, Hispanic, Asian, so they're looking to have that group participate in their program, apprentice program.
What does 360 signify?
Well, a 360 signify is that you make a circle, the 360.
I see.
You got to develop it, design it, construct it, and have good tradespeople coming in. We're not involved in that, but it's a new thing that they just started with the developers, the contractors, and the union getting together to see how they could complete these jobs and hire the people that make up the Cook County residents.
And it sounds like that might be somehow affected by the U.S. Census.
I don't know, but the U.S. Census is very important. We have to be counted. Just think, Bill, when you're the ward committeeman, if they don't count all the people in your area, how that might affect your area.
Well, it'll be my job to ensure that the census accounts for as many residents as possible, because that determines our ward boundaries. That determines the dollars that go into our community, and we need all the dollars we can get, and I'll fight for those dollars. So we need to have an accurate census, and we've been promoting that the whole way through.
You know, I'm glad Bill mentioned about the boundaries, that they don't gerrymander the boundaries.
Well, they're gerrymandering all right.
and make it a complete 49th Ward intact, what the 49th Ward is all about. You know,
Mhm.
Trudy, and Bill, when he's elected, Bill has the most diverse ward of all the wards in Chicago.
We certainly do. We're the most diverse community in Rogers Park and West Ridge, and we celebrate our diversity in many different ways. Art, music, our architecture, our people, our small businesses, everything is different. It's a block by, it's not even a block by block. It's an apartment by apartment, building by building, all kinds of different languages and dialects, which we embrace and enjoy.
Did you mention before that there are 58 languages spoken in Rogers Park?
I don't know the exact number, but I know that we have every single one of them and every dialect of every language.
58. That's amazing. That is excellent, and they all work together. And that's why I love to come to the 49th Ward for the restaurants, the food. Yes. I mean, it's a friendly area to come to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember when after the Chinatown parade,
yeah,
that we were in together, we all came over to Rogers Park and showed you around.
Yeah.
It's got a high population density. It's really built up. And it's so diverse, and I think that it'll embrace, the community will embrace both of ours.
And also you got a university nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Loyola University. And as you mentioned, education is the key.
It certainly is.
Yes.
Always support Loyola University, our grade schools, our high schools, even our preschools.
And interns from Loyola.
And we also host an internship program with the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, where we have Northeastern Illinois University students and Loyola University students come in with an intern. And that's one of the things I want to do with the 49th Ward Democratic Party is get the youth involved. Have them be interns, gain that experiential learning, and build up our community and be inclusive and welcoming. I don't think that our 49th Ward Democratic Party is inclusive and welcoming enough. And I think that if we welcome everybody, absolutely everybody in our very diverse community, then we can grow.
Frank, how many terms have you served as a Metropolitan Water Reclamation District Commissioner, and how do you feel that the different terms differ from each other?
Well, I served 2 terms. I won my first election in 2002. Mm-hmm. I had an engineering company for about 30 years, and I sold that, and I told my wife I'm going to run for office. And so and you know, running for office is not easy. You have to go out and meet all the people in Cook County.
Did you win the first time?
No, I lost the first time. But then I won in 2002. Mm-hmm. I won in 2008. And I won in 2014 because I go out and meet the community. I talk to as Bill mentioned, there's 58 different languages. Well, I went and I visit almost every ethnic group in Cook County. Because I want to I want to listen to them. Mm-hmm. I don't want to tell them, but I want to listen and get their ideas and problems that they want us to solve. And so I won 3 terms. As I mentioned, I'm a civil engineer. The Water Reclamation District was designed and built by civil engineers. And I wanted to run for office that if I got elected, I knew what to do in that office. And as a civil engineer, I know what to do from A to Z in that office, what project to pick to protect the health and welfare of the people, and also how to fund it. Mm-hmm. The key is that how do you fund a project that you don't put a burden on the taxpayers? That's the key.
Is that the policy that you spoke of that you have to formulate? Is that part of it?
Yes. That's part of the policy there.
Mm-hmm. How hard is it to fund the project? Are you able to access federal funding? Is that the funding that you say has to go through the state in order to go get into the district?
Yes, that's part of the funding that we have to. If a project costs like $50 million mm-hmm. or $100 million, mm-hmm. well, we need to maybe fund that, and we need to borrow the money at a low rate of interest. There, yes.
So that comes from the state of Illinois.
That comes from the federal government. They give the state the money, mm-hmm. and the state will farm it out too. Because we're not we're Cook County. We handle all the human waste here in Cook County. You got DuPage County, Lake County, mm-hmm. all the different counties, mm-hmm. all the cities may have their own wastewater plants. So they fund that out to the different wastewater agencies here.
So, finance-wise and budget-wise, what is the greatest challenge would you feel that you have?
I think the greatest challenge is keeping our pension intact.
Mhm.
Make sure that we don't we're funding that pension because that's where the city of Chicago has problems.
Mhm.
That where the park district has problems.
Yes.
That county has and the state has problems on that pension.
Remembering the pension crisis.
Yeah, the pension. How do you? We are controlling the pension.
How are there any tips? Have you found any better practices to control the pension?
Well, the only practice is watch your expenditure. Make sure you don't bring on projects that you can't afford to do and you don't have to do.
Mhm.
You only do the projects that will protect the health and welfare of the public and keep you operating. It's like, right, we're over 100 years. And this year in 2020, we appropriated $100 million to maintain our facilities because all our equipment are 50, 60, 70 years old. So we have to make sure that we're rehabilitating our equipment so we could operate in an efficient manner because they want, everyone's talking about climate change. How do you help climate change? Well, we're helping the climate change by when we at the end of our treatment we have fertilizer. So we give, and it's free.
The biosolids.
The biosolid, yeah, it's free when we give it to the farmers, the golf course, and when they apply our biosolid, it attracts the CO2 into the soil. See, and we give it, and also anyone out there that wants compost, it's free. Probably next month or in March. Well, March is here. You can come and get free compost at any of our facilities. Well, they'll be in bags, or if you want us to truckload over, we send you over 10 cubic yards of compost. Excellent.
Is that free?
It's free.
You would truck it over?
Yeah, it's free. Yeah. We would check over. Maybe Bill, you set up a compost day. Find a lot where we could bring over 10 or 20 cubic yards and have people come and pick up compost, or maybe we'll bring over bags. Maybe we'll give you 100, 160 bags and have a compost day.
And you've done that before with
Oh yeah,
communities.
yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, garden.
Yeah.
Garden club. Do you have any garden club?
We sure do.
Yeah,
We have the Rogers Park Garden Group.
Oh,
We've got different gardens
Sure.
in the parks.
Sure.
And private gardens as well.
sure. And then we'll come over and bring a speaker. One of our scientists will come over and explain all about compost, Bill. Maybe we'll plan it when you
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that for sure.
Yes.
That sounds great.
People could find more information about where to pick up compost and how to plan events with trucking over compost at the website.
Oh yes, MWRD.org. And don't forget, we have 500 tons a day we're moving out. I mean, we have a lot of biosolids, a lot of compost.
Okay. Well, Commissioner Frank Avila of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District and Bill Morton, President of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce and candidate for 49th Ward Democratic Committeeman, thank you very much for joining us on WZRD Chicago today.
Thank you.
And this is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM, the WZRD.